So today we're going to be learning how to clean up and code heart rate data for Dr. Florell's research lab. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is open the Acquire Knowledge program. And when this little box pops up, you're going to click on Cancel. And then if you want, you can maximize it just so you can see things a little better. So then the next thing you're going to want to do is go to File and Open, and this should say Florell Research Data. If it doesn't, you'll just have to click on the correct folder. And for the purposes of Dr. Florell's research lab, you are not going to want to do this on files that already say smooth, because that means it's already been done. So, I mean, you can see these numbers are the same. This just says smooth and this one doesn't. So this one is already cleaned up. So for the purposes of this video, we're just going to do this one. Okay, so for the first thing you need to do is you need to apply a bandpass filter to get rid of any noise in the data. In order to do that, you have to click on the heart rate over here. Then you go up to Transform, Digital Filters, FIR, and click Band Pass. When you do that, this will pop up, and you need to change low frequency to 0.48. You need to change high frequency to 2.5, and the number of coefficients should be 117. Once you get that finished, you need to make sure hamming is selected here. Make sure you don't click hanning. It's hamming. When you get that, click OK. Now, to get new heart rate data post-filter, you need to ensure a couple things are already set the way they're supposed to be. To do that, make sure heart rate's selected over here. Click on Transform. Go down to Find Rate. Make sure the function says rate BPM, and you also want to make sure that find rate of the entire wave is checked. Once you have ensured both of those things are set the way they should be, then you just click OK. The next thing that you need to do is set up participant data. So to do that, you need to make sure that this says time, delta T, and mean. But you need to make sure that they're on channel 3. And as you can see, time and delta T are not. So click right here and then select channel 3 for rate. So at the end, these three should be green. And for GSR purposes, this should be set to min, channel 2, and blue. But we'll do GSR in a different video. This is just heart rate. Okay, so once you get that done, you need to go to File, Save As, and then keep that number, and then just type in smooth, because then that lets people know that that data has been cleaned up and is ready to be analyzed if you're not going to go ahead and analyze it. But, you know, for this video, I'm just going to click on Cancel. So now once you get it all cleaned up, you're ready to start analyzing. And sometimes Acquire Knowledge likes to start you toward the very end of the file, so make sure that you are at the beginning. And to analyze, I always just set it like this and just resize everything so that it's easier to see, because you're going to analyze it in an Excel document. So it's just easier to see. Okay, so in order to analyze, what you need to do... Oh, ignore these numbers. I thought they were gone. Ignore those. Hang on. I'll show you how to do that in just a second. Okay, there we go. Sorry about that. Okay, so in order to analyze, you're going to come up here, and you can just scroll and scroll and scroll until you see you're going to see little triangles here, and those are your timestamps. But instead of scrolling, I just use these arrows because it makes it easier. But just make sure that this number matches this number, and they're both in one, so they do indeed match. Then you need to click on this little guy, and click in the middle of that arrow as close as you can possibly get. If you get a little off, you can use your arrow keys on your computer keyboard. So the number that you are going to put right here is this number, the time. So it's 164.54. You're going to put that number here and the same number right here. So you're going to put the time in column B and column D, the same time. So then for column C, you need to subtract 1. So 163.54. For columns E through M, you need to add 1. So 165, 166, 167, 168, 169, 170, 171, 172, and finally 173. Okay, so that's how you do the timestamp. You do the same thing all the way down the Excel file until you get to the last one, which I believe is CR1. I'll show you how to do one more. Make sure your numbers match. R1, R1, they do match. So your time is 183.28. And that goes in column B and column D. For column C, you subtract 1. And for columns E through M, you add 185, 186, so on and so forth. And again, you do that the whole way down the Excel file until the very last one. Now you can do the timestamps all the way down before you start analyzing and then go back, or you can do it all at one time. It's whatever you prefer, but I'll show you how to analyze the first one. So make sure they match, N1, N1. Click back in your triangle. Your time should match, and it does, 164.54, 164.54. Now to find the heart rate, you're going to want to look right here at the mean. Your mean is your heart rate. So the heart rate is 88.23529. It is important to note that you do not round this number, but you do the same thing on down. So for column C, you need to go back and find, you need to go back to acquire knowledge and find as close to 163.54 as possible. See, 163.54. So then your heart rate is going to be the mean, again, 90.90, 99. And you do the same thing for columns E through M. So you're going to go and you're going to find 165.54 as close as you can. And again, if you just don't want to keep clicking, you can use the arrows on your keyboard to get as close as possible. So 165.54 is right here. Do you see? 165.54. And then your heart rate is 85.71,429. So you're going to put that number under here. And you're going to do that same process all the way over to column M. And that's how you analyze heart rate data. Now it's important to remember that if your heart rate is under 75, okay, so let's just pretend that 166.54 is under, it's clearly not under 75, but let's pretend that it is under 75. If it's under 75, instead of typing a number, you're going to type below cutoff. Okay, so now let's pretend that 167.54, which it's clearly not again, but let's pretend that this one is above 95. So if it's above 95, then you're going to come down to the Excel file and type above cutoff. So you're, in essence, you're only analyzing heart rate that is between 75 and 95 BPM. If it is either above or below that data, then we do not code it or analyze it. Okay, so that's how you analyze heart rate.